Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to crochet this red, white, and blue coaster. It's worked with puff stitches, so it's a little thick and it's very pretty, and it's the perfect piece for your 4th of July celebration. So here I have one that's just a solid color. All right, so for the materials, I'm just using worsted weight yarn. So you can use any worsted weight yarn. This is Big Twist, so this is at Joann's. And this is Red Heart Super Saver. And then I didn't have any blue. I recently cleared out a lot of my stash. And of course, when you need something, you don't have it. So this is actually different. This is Lion Brand's Feels Like Butter. It works, but it's not the same as these. So you can use any size hook you want, but I recommend just going by what the label says. So this is 5.0 millimeters, size H. You'll need a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. All right, let's get started. So you can start with any color, but I'm going to go with white in the center. So I'm going to start with the magic ring. Holding your tail, you want to wrap your yarn around your fingers over the tail, and then insert your hook into that circle to grab the working yarn. Okay, so you'll have something like that. Chain 1 to secure it. Okay. So now we're going to work around this ring here, and this is going to be the tail. We're just going to work right over that. So you want to pull your yarn up pretty tall to where your puff stitch will be. So for the next step, you're going to do this 4 times. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, yarn over, pull up a tall loop, okay? So you want to make sure it goes all the way up here. So you do that 4 times. So that was 1, yarn over into the ring, yarn over, and pull up that tall loop. That's 2. Yarn over into the circle or ring, yarn over, and pull up another tall loop. Okay, one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So you should have 9 loops on your hook. You're going to then yarn over and pull through all 9 loops, and then chain 1 to secure. So that is your first puff stitch. You're going to work 8 of those into this ring here. So around this ring, working right over the tail, you're going to work another 7 puff stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. This time you want to make sure you're at the same level as this stitch here, so just about the height of this puff stitch. Okay, so that was 1. Yarn over, grab another loop, that's 2. Grab another loop, that's 3. And finally the 4th loop. 9 loops, you want to yarn over, pull through all 9, chain 1 to secure. Okay, next puff, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should have 9 loops. Yarn over, pull through all 9 loops, and then chain 1 to secure. So that's 3. I'm going to work 5 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's like working an endless double crochet. Okay, that's 4. So let's do 4 more. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I lose count, so I just want to make sure I have 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay. Yarn over, pull through all 9 loops, chain 1 to secure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 3 more puff stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you find that your magic ring is too big, you can just pull on the tail here to tighten it a little bit. Sometimes my ring is way too big and it gets a little floppy. So 2 more. And this is my last puff stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 9 loops, yarn over, pull through, chain 1. So I have 8 puff stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to pull on the tail so I tighten that center. Okay, so into the top of this first one here, that's the chain 1 that you work to secure your puff stitch. You're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and through the loop on your hook to work a slip stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to fasten off and add the red. So I'm going to make a loop and then place it on my hook, and then I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to cut my white here and then tie the 2 ends together. I want to make sure it's on my hook. I'm going to pull this white one so that it comes down. Make sure that's just slightly snug on my hook. And then I'm going to tie the 2 ends. I tried carrying this up, but because of the contrast, it didn't work so well. So if you have tips or any ideas on how to do that, because I hate weaving in ends, leave a comment below. Okay, so in between the 2 puff stitches, this is round 2, you're going to insert your hook and then pull up the red yarn there, and then pull it through the loop that's on your hook. So that's basically a slip stitch, and then you're going to pull this up and start your first puff stitch. So yarn over into that space between those 2 puff stitches, pull up a loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, if you get lost, make sure you have 9 loops. Yarn over, pull through, chain 1 to secure. So we're going to work 2 puff stitches in every space. So the space between each of these puff stitches. So you should have 16 puff stitches at the end of the round. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do this enough, you can actually feel the size of the puff. Sometimes I only have 7 loops and I can feel that it's a little bit less dense. That just means I crochet too much, I guess. Okay, so that's 2 puff stitches in that space. We're going to skip over to this space here and work another 2 puff stitches. Don't forget to pull up a tall loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 more puff stitch in the same space. Okay, so I'm going to work 2 puff stitches in every space between these puff stitches. And you should have a total of 16 puff stitches. So don't forget to place your last set of puff stitches in here. Sometimes it's a little hard to see because it looks like you're at the end and that you've worked your last stitch. So there's one more space right there. Okay, so on top of this first puff stitch, work a slip stitch. Now I'm going to switch to the blue color. I'm going to make a loop and pull that through. Then I'm going to tie these together. Okay, so now I'm ready to start my last round. So let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, so we're going to place 2 puff stitches in between these 2 puff stitches. And then the space that's between each set, we're just going to work 1 puff stitch. So right into that first space, you want to work a slip stitch and then pull up a tall loop. And then work your puff stitch. If you haven't used this yarn, and I'm not quite sure if it's discontinued, I'll have to look. It really is soft and buttery. It slides nicely on my fingers when I crochet. Okay, so 2. And then in between these 2 sets right here, we're just going to work 1 puff stitch. Okay, and then in between these 2, we're going to work 2 puff stitches. So that's going to be the repeat all the way around. Okay, next one here is going to be just 1. Okay, so repeat that around. 2 in this space here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, you can see that it's coming out. The set is coming out of this set, and then in between the sets, there's just 1 puff stitch. Again, don't forget the last space here, and then I'm going to slip stitch to the first puff stitch. Okay, so now I have my coaster. Here's one I made that's a solid color. And then here's another one where I added borders to make a square. So I'll leave a link for this pattern because I'm actually making something out of this, if you were interested in adding the corners. Now I'm just going to fasten off and then weave in my ends. So here's how I hide the different colors. Right on top of this puff stitch, I'm going to go through that chain 1, pull it through, and then on the front side, I'm going to place it through here so that it looks like it's part of this puff stitch. And then I'm going to fasten off on the red here. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below or send me an email. I do try to read all of my comments and respond to my emails as much as I can. And if you haven't, please hit that notification button so that you will be notified every time I post a new video. All right, I'll see you next time.